In this second talk, sponsored by Widen, I'd like to look at content curation and the content curation process and how it's changing the landscape of marketing, education and traditional mediums. Content curation is the latest buzz in education and marketing. It will become a regular feature in research and business intelligence as the tools improve. In short, content curation offers a central place for storing web content and sharing among groups of collaborators, students and researchers. Social curation isn't going away, and I think this video from Steve Rosenbaum clearly indicates the reason and the rationale behind curation itself.
Take this haystack. Imagine the information you're looking for is a needle. Now multiply the haystack by 10 billion and make the needle smaller. The problem gets bigger and bigger. So if I can, I just want to ask a question of the folks here today. We have 600 people in the theater. Think about this. In the last couple of days, I'm just going to ask, raise your hand if the last thing you did at the end of the day, after you kissed your boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife, walked the dog, put your kids to bed, did the homework, shut off the TV, the last thing you did was check your email. Raise your hand. All right, so okay, next question. A little harder. You wake up the next day. Before you've had a cup of coffee, you check your email. Yeah, I think, and this is the bonus points question. How many of you wake up in the middle of the night and check your email? Now, here's what's funny about that. What's funny about that is we all think that we're unique. Our boss is difficult, our business is demanding, we're in an internet company. We're not. This is happening to all of us. We did a survey over the last couple of weeks, and we asked people these questions. And what we found was that effectively everyone we surveyed, of the 200 respondents, said they are online from the moment they wake up until the moment they go to bed. And this data overload, this avalanche of data, we asked people, how do you cope with it? And the number one answer, 78%, was, I just check my email constantly. I mean, you're checking it now, right? The second answer was, I work weekends and evenings. And the two answers that concerned me the most was the answer, I admit I just can't keep up, and I essentially sleep less. So I don't have a chart for this, but I'll tell you that 33% of the respondents said they check email in the middle of the night, so you're not alone. This phenomenon that there's this avalanche of information coming at us, and that we're going to somehow manage it by just working harder or sleeping less, is really a fallacy. We need to change the way we interact with information. And I'm going to give you some ideas about how to do that. But to begin with, we have to all acknowledge that the idea of consuming all the data on the web like a fire hose is simply not going to work. It worked for a period of time. It doesn't work now. So the first thing we have to do is really just say goodbye to search. And I want to just play an experiment out for you so you see how it works. I went and I did something we all do in the privacy of our own home. I Googled myself. I admit it. And here's what I found. Now, because we don't have a lot of time, I'm just going to make this easy for you. I'm going to take away all the pictures of me. Now, that leaves a bunch of guys also named Steve Rosenbaum. Fair enough, I'll give Google that. I understand. But it also leaves a bunch of women. And maybe the one that troubles me the most, which is this one. I just don't know how you confuse me with a Pomeranian. I don't understand. Now, this is funny, but it's also a little concerning. So if you're meeting me for a business meeting at the local Starbucks and you go online to figure out who I am, you go looking for a Pomeranian.
He's right, of course. Search is broken. Is social curation the next wave for search? I'm not sure, but we'll dig deeper into that. What I do know is that going to trusted sources, sitting on the shoulder of giants, enable and the ability to reclip and reshare and get feedback helps us all grow our knowledge and add to the network graph. Social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Scoop.it have ushered in visual marketing as the breakout trend for 2012. When it comes to their products, businesses are learning to show, not tell, and visual content sites are fueling our desire for beautiful photography and sensational design. 2 years ago, marketers were spending and spreading their maxim that content is king. But now it seems a picture really is worth 1,000 words. We're starting to see a plethora of these social curation sites appearing, and with a $1 billion acquisition of Instagram by Facebook, it's something we seriously have to take note of. For instance, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg commented on the importance of images in the site's future, saying, "Providing the best photo sharing experience is one reason why so many people love Facebook, and we knew it'd be worth bringing these two companies together." My research has led me on to a deeper look at what digital assets and visual assets do on a neurological level, and so part of this talk we'll look at neuroscience and particularly neuromarketing. Articles containing relevant images have 94% more total views than articles without images on average. 94%, stunning. And the top categories where image boost performance have been shown to be news content, political content and sports content. This has also been borne out into research about how images affect press materials. The more multimedia you include in your press materials, the more views you're bound to get. That's according to PR Newswire data that analysed more than 10,000 press releases. And we're seeing how images are impacting local search. Having any image gives businesses a leg up. When searching, 60% of consumers are more likely to consider or contact a business that has been shown an image up in their local search result. And this is further borne out in e-commerce sites. Products are sold based on image, particularly quality of image. And social media is no different. According to an analysis by WebLiquid, conducted pre-timeline, Facebook posts with photos have the highest user engagement than any other post.
I'm Robin Peterson, CTO of Mashable, and I'm here with Bert Herman, who is co-founder of Storify. Bert, here's your one question. Who's going to have more clout in the future, authors or curators?
Interesting question. Okay, I still think probably authors in the end are the people who will have the most clout. Like the world does belong to creators, but yeah, curators play an important role, especially as we're living in this age of overload, to help find what people should be reading and care about, and they are the tastemakers in some way too. So they certainly do have a lot of clout on their own.
I guess tastemakers is one way of putting it. Thought leaders, or content that is curated by expert, those in the know. The people you can go to, you know you can trust the content that they're curating because they are the experts. We usually associate the term content curation with museums and galleries, so I like this move towards social curation. It defines the difference between an expert that is curating for an audience in the traditional sense, and an expert who's curating their own knowledge, and as they curate that knowledge, they're sharing it with people who are following and other people that are interested in the terms and the keywords that are associated around that particular product, service or idea. So let's take a look at some of the social curation tools out there. Scoopit's one of my favourites, and I use it on a daily. The beauty of sites like Scoopit is the ability to quickly render content, especially visual content, and that content's then already hooked into your social media sites, so Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. It's a very quick way to dynamically render content that's suitable for multiple audiences. Scoopit is one of my favourite content curation tools, but others take a different twist on the subject. Storify is a great tool for blogs. It searches Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Flickr, Instagram and many other sources, and then exports it to your WordPress, Tumblr or Postgres blog. It's a great way for also dynamically creating content, dragging and dropping the news directly into your post. It's a real-time feed, and it's very suitable for people who are looking to aggregate masses of content around a particular theme. Pearltrees is a slightly more complex content curation beast. It allows you to visually see content around your specific interests. One of the interesting aspects that Pearltrees have done is they let you link with other thought leaders within the same space so that you can collaborate around content, and that's bearing some real interesting fruit in terms of knowledge exchange. And this brings me on to the content curation tool that's capturing most of my attention and engagement at the moment. Started by a guy called Gary Flake, who was in the think tank at Microsoft and Yahoo. His team has taken a different twist on what content curation is. ClipBoard gives you a plugin that you can add to your browser. So as you travel the web, you literally click either images or words or videos or whole websites, and then you tag that content, and those tags become the boards that are rendered within your own interests. So here we're looking at a board that's especially based on education resources for some education projects I'm working on. But we can scroll through and we can start to quickly see the mind of the person who's actually clipping the web and what interests them, and whether those interests cross over into other fields, and that can then be shared either publicly or privately. And to prove the case over text over images, you can look at the clips that I'm doing in relation to this webinar and the talks that I want to mention. We can quickly go up, render as whole pages, but by far the best way of viewing any content curation is when you see the visual aspects of it. So what is ClipBoard and why is it changing the face of curation? Let's take a look in their own words.
The internet is a powerful tool. Whether you're trying to find the best deal on a car, research a school project, or just keep up to date with the latest funny cat videos, it's out there somewhere. But keeping track of the good stuff is a hassle. If you're like most people, you'll try to copy part of a web page and email it to yourself or bookmark the whole page. But neither looks right and both are easy to lose. Surely there has to be a better way. With ClipBoard, saving and sharing parts of the web couldn't be easier. Whether it's text, images, videos, or Flash applications, ClipBoard can grab just the information that you want. Simply point, click, and voila! Your selection is lifted right out of the page and saved. No more trying to remember search queries, no more digging through emails to find that missing link. With ClipBoard, your clips are accessible from anywhere, anytime, just a click away. Like to cook? Use ClipBoard to collect your favorite recipes. Shop online? ClipBoard is your ultimate wish list across every shopping site. Doing a project? Clip your research and share it with your collaborators. The possibilities are as endless as the internet. ClipBoard. Select, collect, reflect.
Look into my eyes, look into my eyes. We are now in the world of neuromarketing and neuroscience. Look into my eyes, look into my eyes, look into my eyes. Neuromarketing researchers use technologies such as MRI scans to measure brain activity when consumers are exposed to products, brands and advertising. It's a new, somewhat controversial tool for helping marketeers fine-tune marketing campaigns, strengthen brands and design better products. The ensuing ethics debate involves whether or not neuromarketing research could eventually uncover the inner buy switch, which when flipped would turn us into robot shoppers, a bit reminiscent of Minority Report.
Silence. Evening at Brugman University Hospital in Brussels. The patients are gone. All services are closed except MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, where this young woman is about to have her brain analysed. But she's not sick. On a specially installed screen, she's going to watch a 45-minute long advertisement for a well-known soft drink. It's a functional MRI, but for marketing purposes. The aim is to examine the impact of advertising on the mind of the volunteer, using a machine that records brain activity millisecond by millisecond. This is neuromarketing, and it's a very recent discipline. In 2004, an American researcher published the results of a study. As a basis for the research, a classic marketing battle was utilized, the Coke-Pepsi challenge. When volunteers were tested blind, the brain used its activated taste zone. The result, the people preferred Pepsi. But when they're told the brand, there's a surprise change. The area of the brain pertaining to memory springs into action, and this time the volunteers choose Coke. So in this case, neuroscience appears to have proved that advertising or brand loyalty is a more powerful motivator than taste. 7 years after this study, and several consulting companies have made neuromarketing their business. One of them is Brain Impact in Brussels. They can decrypt responses in the brains of volunteers that are generated by advertising, in this case for another soft drink. First comes the advertising hook. The character hits a window. What this triggers in the viewer, whether they realise it or not, is a peak of negative emotion. It can be seen clearly here in this graph. Obviously it's something negative. Your brain alerts you and says, be careful, look out, danger. So it will increase the potency of the advertising so it's more memorable. It's interesting when people are not really aware of this negative emotion. This is what's happening in the mind of the volunteer watching the advert. The parts of the brain, here shown in blue, those responsible for reasoning, are disactivated. Conversely, the emotional zone in yellow is lit up. It means the advert takes you down an emotional path. So this is an advert that works well, as emotions and decisions are linked. There's no decision without emotion. There's no purely rational decision. It doesn't exist. The experts say that's why we sometimes observe what appears to be irrational or confusing behaviour in consumers. Neuromarketing is now starting to be taught in the larger business schools, like here at the College of Engineering in Paris. The teacher is a neurosurgeon, a founder of a society of neuromarketing. He advises French and international companies. But no large groups we interviewed have acknowledged using his methods. But in today's business-led world, it's hard to imagine that any multi-million enterprise, dependent on sales to consumers, would ignore anything that could potentially give them the edge on their competitors. I think they're a little bit ashamed to use these techniques, but they use almost all of them because they're effective. With the help of neuroscience, marketing can now confirm that which previously fell largely within the field of intuition. Like all science, it could be used for good or bad. Its scope is broad. It could, for example, help in campaigns against tobacco and alcohol, or help politicians get their message across.
So the key message here, and the key learning takeaways: enhance and deliver your core marketing message visually. The design of your product image in an ad, external packaging, etc., where you can visually strengthen your brand and emotional connection with customers. We're starting to understand the visual impact of images at a brain level and how that enables us to make informed decisions. Now I'm going to show you an example, by no means scientific, just to prove the fact that image stimulation and the mind and the body and the senses and the feelings that you get from content do have a profound effect on you. Take these stunning images for example. This is my board named Inspiration, and as you can see there's some visual images here that are funny, intriguing, exciting, warming, scareful. Basically, I've noticed that at times when I'm feeling stressed with my current workload, if I click into my inspiration page, it changes my mood, it settles me. It's almost like a meditative state. In my next talk, I'll be looking at content marketing, content curation's role with digital assets and how they're impacting education and marketing. It will be a case study of a primary school that are using these tools to convey complex issues and messages, and these kids are only 7 to 11 years old. Thank you very much.